Hi everyone, it's me, Diana, the Doll Fairy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a Smart Doll Faceup video for you, and while I show you the process, I'll also be answering some of your questions that you asked me on Instagram recently. I'm going to be doing a Smart Doll Faceup based on the discontinued Smart Doll Moonlight. Moonlight and Twilight are dolls which utilize a head sculpt that, as far as I know, has only been used for these two characters officially so far. Over a year ago, some people began to find these somewhat rare sculpts in Chaos head packs from Culture Japan, which was really exciting. Someone reached out to me at the time asking if I could do a commission to create a face-up based on Moonlight on a Cinnamon Twilight head. Now, before you ask, I don't really do commissions, at least not currently, but I basically wanted to try this, so I agreed. Because the head was from Chaos, I first needed to cut the eye holes. Smart Doll heads are made of vinyl, which becomes much easier to cut when heated. I used a hairdryer to heat the vinyl, which made it very soft and flexible. Then, using a narrow blade, I began by cutting an oval shape much smaller than I eventually want the hole to be. This way I can kind of shave it down a little at a time, which is the best way to avoid accidentally cutting too much or causing damage to the head with the blade. This is a bit tedious to do because I have to be so meticulous about it, and it takes a while, but it's actually not as difficult as I expected the first time I tried it. To get started on the face up, I'm going to spray 2 to 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear sealant on the head, outside with my respirator mask to protect my lungs. I let each coat dry in between. Then I get started by sketching the outlines with a light brown watercolor pencil. Since I'm trying to replicate an existing doll's face up, it's a lot harder than being allowed to use my own creative freedom to create something that I think is pretty. I have to spend a lot of time staring at my reference images of Moonlight, erasing and adjusting throughout. Even so, from here on out, things are pretty straightforward in terms of instructions or advice I could give you, so I thought I'd take this time to answer some questions. Camp Raiden asks, how long do you keep your smart dolls in their outfits? Do you rotate them often outside of videos? That's a great question. The truth is that actually I do not rotate my dolls' outfits a whole lot outside of videos. It's usually I'm doing it for a video or occasionally for an Instagram post or some sort of a photo. Or I might change their clothes if I am working on sewing some clothing and I need to try things on them. But generally, they kind of stay in the same outfits, like from one video to the next video where they're wearing a different outfit. And that's just because I don't have that much free time to actually just like play with my dolls, like dress them up for fun. La Belle Fleur Jessie and Tiff Knights 731 both asked about the Avatar dolls, referring to the Avatar-themed design challenge that I held on my channel. I chose 2 winners, and I am going to make dolls of the winning designs. I admit it has been quite a while, but don't worry, the dolls are in progress. Their face-ups are done, and their hair is in progress, and their outfits are next. It's just been a very, very long process because I have had so many other things going on, but not to worry. I've been in contact with the winners of the contest to let them know that their dolls are coming, and they will be coming to my channel. White Fox Kit Luna479 asked, how do you come up with concepts for your designs, especially clothing? And I think this is a really good question because this is something I always wonder about, especially when I admire a lot of other artists' designs as well. I wonder, how do they come up with those? So basically what I like to do is just basically look at a lot of inspiration. I like to make Pinterest boards. One thing that I really like to do is to take something that's sort of out of context and reinterpret it, if that makes any sense. Especially when it comes to clothing and fashion, I feel like for whatever reason, I don't come up with things very well on my own. So I really need to be replenishing my inspiration constantly by looking at, photos, looking at different, fashion things and, like I said, Pinterest boards. Abdullah12129918 asked, what's your favorite magical girl show? And a few of my favorite magical girl shows, the first one from my childhood is Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders, which is very near and dear to my heart. I also really love the Winx Club, really more like the first and second season, and beyond that, I'm not as familiar with it. And I really, really loved Witch, which was made by Disney, and there was a comic and a TV show, and I just loved the characters in that show. GamerArts97 asked, will you customize a doll based on a future story character you create, like Fable? So Fable is a doll that I created based on a character that I had in my mind. I was kind of creating a story about all of my smart dolls, and I haven't actually really thought through that story in a while. I never really fleshed out all the characters. I would like to return to it sometime, but I really do love to create dolls based on a character that I have in my mind. I love creating stories, so I definitely want to do more of that in the future. Kitri and Caboodle asked, what is your favorite custom-made doll that you ever made? And this is kind of difficult, but I think after I thought about it a little bit, my favorite custom doll that I made is actually a pair of dolls, and it's my Sylveon dolls, my Rococo style Sylveon dolls that I made actually in a collaboration with Delightful and Motion a few years back. And I just really love how those dolls turned out. They're exactly the way that I envisioned them. I think they're really pretty and cute, and they're also really special to me because they're based on Pokemon that I actually had in my Pokemon X game that I played a lot. So yeah, I really love those too. JD Grace 97 asked, what are your favorite animes? And I'd have to say that my favorites are Code Geass, Princess Tutu, which I highly recommend for anyone who loves likes my channel and my style. Like Princess Tutu is right on the nose. And I also enjoyed Your Lie in April and Anohana. And I'm sure there's other ones I'm forgetting, but I really like those. _568 asked, how long does it usually take for you to customize a doll? This is something I always wonder about other artists as well, because I always worry that I work too slow. But really, it depends on what the project is, how involved it is, how detailed of a process it's going to be. But in general, I like to give myself at least a month to create a doll. Like if it was a collaboration and I had a specific deadline, I definitely would need at least a month. But sometimes it can also take, 6 months or like a year if I get stuck or I get distracted, I'm working on other things, or I just don't have a lot of time. So it does really vary based on a lot of factors. Hiragi Zawa asked, have you ever thought of getting a BJD? So I'm assuming you mean a resin ball jointed doll. And I absolutely have thought of it. I really, really would love to get a Minifee from Fairyland. And I was actually planning to get a Minifee and saving up for one, but that was before my smart doll obsession came into play, and that just thwarted the whole thing. But yes, someday soon, hopefully, I would really love to get a Minifee. Luna-chan 99 asked, what got you into doll customizing? I got into doll customizing because I was really into collecting limited edition Disney dolls, and I started to realize that sometimes the dolls weren't the way that I would have designed them myself, or sometimes they wouldn't have a doll of a character that I wanted to have a doll of, or I didn't particularly like a design of a limited edition doll that came out and I wanted to make my own. And I found that that was a lot more exciting for me than just buying a doll that someone else created. I just wanted to create my own. And ever since then, I found that that was an art form I really, really enjoyed. LordOriel asked, when is or was your wedding, and does your hubby like dolls too? So my wedding is coming up. It's going to be in June, and my hubby-to-be does not have an intrinsic interest in dolls in any way, but he is interested in the dolls that I create, and he always asks me about them and wants to see them when they're in progress, and always shows a lot of enthusiasm. So I think that's really nice. He also collects like figures. He has like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars figures and like some pop figures and stuff like that. So yeah, he's more into figures than dolls, I guess. Dollasaurus asked, would you ever collab with someone who isn't doll related, like Let Me Explain Studios? I would love to collaborate with YouTubers who are not in the doll community. I don't know if my channel is really big enough to get noticed in that way, but two channels I would absolutely love to collaborate with, like my dream collaborations would be, I love Micarah Tewers. She's just so funny and interesting, and you know, I love the sewing part of her videos as well. And another like kind of costuming YouTuber that I love is Maksy. She's another person, like I just would love to be friends with her. And so it would be so cool to collaborate with people like that who do costuming. Like maybe they could create a costume and I could create a doll or something like that. I don't know if that would ever happen, but it would be really awesome. Zoe Annabelle asked, are there any good, more accessible alternatives to MSC? Unfortunately, as far as I know, MSC is the best sealant. Before I used MSC, I used to use Liquitex matte varnish. This was like in the very beginning of my doll customizing career. So if you go back really far to my oldest videos, you can see how I used that method, but it really was not very effective and I would never go back to it now. So as far as I know, Mr. Super Clear is just leagues beyond anything else that I have tried. And it is really a pain. I kind of hate having to spray it and go outside and use a mask. Like, it's so annoying, but it really, as far as I know, is the best. So that's my answer. DD19992 asked, I love your repaints. What about the Disney doll series? So my Destination Disney doll series included a couple of dolls based on attractions in Disney parks. And I definitely am not fully abandoning that idea. I just haven't felt inspired to make another doll in the series recently. I've been really, really busy and I have like a million other projects that I kind of want to do first. But it's definitely on the back burner, like it's still in the back of my mind. And I'm pretty sure I will return to it at some point in the near future, just I don't know when. Queen Brittany Surprise asked, what's your favorite doll line that you collect? And the answer to that would have to be Smart Dolls. I'm just obsessed with them. I just think they're the most beautiful dolls, and yeah, that's it. I Am the Cat 2408 asked, if you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be? Fantasy animals included. Well, since you said fantasy animals included, I feel like that would include Pokemon. So I would choose to have an Eevee, and probably eventually evolve it into Sylveon, but Eevee is pretty much my favorite Pokemon, and I would totally love to have one in real life. And Eevee is also kind of like a realistic enough looking Pokemon that I could see it being a real life pet. So yeah, that's absolutely my answer for that question. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people like us. I first became interested in Skillshare when I learned from fellow creators that Skillshare could help me discover all the different forms of art I've always been curious about, but was too intimidated to try. Not only do Skillshare classes allow me to learn new things and experiment, but these classes also replenish my creative energy when I'm feeling burnt out or uninspired. Skillshare classes are for beginners, pros, dabblers, and masters, and include a combination of video lessons and a class project, along with feedback from a community of millions. Most of the classes on Skillshare are under 60 minutes with short lessons to fit any schedule, on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, fine art, freelancing and entrepreneurship, and so much more. Skillshare is ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring new skills, and there are new premium classes launched every week. A class I'm taking right now that I'm really enjoying is called Creative Space, taught by watercolor illustrator and designer Amaryllis Henderson. This course is all about organizing your studio workspace in ways that will unlock your creativity. Since I'm in the process of moving into a new space, I've been thinking a lot about how to craft my workspace to best foster creativity. With fun, helpful quizzes, suggestions, and walking us through how organization and arrangement can be personalized for your style, Amaryllis is helping me to do that with flying colors. I'm being 100% genuine when I tell you that I am so happy to work with Skillshare as a sponsor, because I truly believe that using the internet to connect people across the globe, to share what they know, to teach and to learn creative skills, I think that's the best thing to come out of this age of global technology, if you ask me. Right now, Skillshare is offering a special promotion. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description box or my code TheDollFairy will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. I highly encourage you to click on the link and try out Skillshare today, and enjoy that feeling of infinite possibility that you get when you browse through their thousands of inspiring classes and realize that there is literally so much to learn and it's all at your fingertips. I love it. Thank you so much for all of your questions. We definitely need to do this again soon. Now we're almost done with this face up. I'm adding some finishing touches with a very subtle dusting of eyeshadow and adding a bit more color to her lips. Then it's time for one more layer of color to really deepen the brown and black hues of the lines. And after many hours spent agonizing over making this face up as close to perfect as possible, here is Cinnamon Moonlight. She looks like such a sweetheart to me. She has a very gentle and soft expression. I hope her owner finds her as endearing as I do. I found this project particularly difficult because even though the task was very straightforward, doing a face up on someone else's doll and wanting to make it perfect for them was very stressful for me. If I'm making something for myself, it's a lot less pressure. This gave me a lot of anxiety, which is why I don't generally take commissions. I think I would rather create something and then put it out there to see if someone wants to buy it. I do also really love creating something based on someone else's vision or inspiration, like I do with the Design Challenge dolls, so maybe artist choice type commissions might be a thing for me in the future. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in. Thank you to my patrons who helped to make all of this doll magic possible. Right now at the Doll Fairy Patreon, I am holding a patron-exclusive collaboration. The theme is weddings, and everyone at the $3 support tier or above is invited to join in, create a doll of their own, and be featured in a showcase video here on my channel. The deadline is June 3rd, so be sure to go to patreon.com/thedollfairy to join now if you'd like to participate. If you like my doll content, be sure to subscribe to my channel to help me reach 100,000 subscribers at long last. I'd also like to remind you that the Doll Fairy now has an official shop with apparel, accessories, charms, stickers, and lots of cool stuff for sale. I designed all of the merch on thedollfairy.com, so head over to check it out and sign up for the email list to find out the inside scoop about upcoming sales and events. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll see you all again soon for more doll magic. Bye!